The Olympic Games are regarded as the pinnacle of human performance. Given the prestige and popularity of the Games, it's no surprise that they have the power to transform the lives of athletes, for better or for worse. So let's take a look at some Olympic moments that truly changed the lives of athletes and left audiences in shock. Winning at any cost, Kerri Strug. Do we need this? The 18-year-old U.S. gymnast asked her coach after seriously injuring her ankle in her previous jump. "Kerri, we need you to go one more time," replied her coach. Kerri limped back to the starting point and landed a vault flawlessly, winning her team gold in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics against Russia. Kerri collapsed right after landing her jump and had to be carried to the medal podium by her coach. However, this marked the end of her gymnastics career with a third-degree lateral sprain and tendon damage. She could no longer compete. Imagine having your dreams shattered at the young age of 18. Well, that's a tragedy. And even though Kerri's injury sparked a debate about the ethics of pushing athletes too far, her story is a great example of how small moments can forever change the course of one's life. First to last, Ahmed Hafnaoui. This 18-year-old Tunisian swimmer was no star. Ahmed Hafnaoui entered the finals for the 400-meter freestyle in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics as an afterthought. Hafnaoui was the slowest of all the 8 finalists. The man barely made it through, but fate had other plans for him. When he entered the pool in the obscure lane 8, he had almost no one cheering on him. That all changed when Hafnaoui made sure that the entire world had their eyes on that obscure lane 8, where he brilliantly moved past every other swimmer to win a gold medal. No one expected it. No one believed that Hafnaoui would change the landscape of his life in a few minutes. He claimed that this was a dream come true. What an inspiration. Sibling rivalry no more. Hifumi and Uta Abe. After their wins at the World Judo Championship in 2018 on the same day, all eyes were on siblings Hifumi Abe and Uta Abe. Could they compete and win at the Olympics? Incredibly, they both did it and became the first siblings to strike Olympic gold on the same day, just 9 minutes apart from each other in individual sports. This Japanese brother-sister duo came to the Games determined to make their country proud and taste the sweet taste of victory together. "This has turned out to be a great day," Hifumi reported, and why wouldn't it be? Their story went from being great to being historic. The eel, Eric Musambani. At the Olympic Games 2000, the world was introduced to Eric Musambani, who has never set foot outside his country, Equatorial Guinea, before that. When he got entry to the Games with the help of a wild card, Musambani made it his mission to teach himself how to swim. Although he was only allowed to use the local hotel pool thrice a week between 5 and 6 a.m., he was determined. With no coach and prior training, Musambani mistakenly thought he was training for the 50-meter race and not the 100-meter endurance test he would eventually participate in. When the day finally came, he pushed himself to set a record of completing the last lap in 1 minute 53 seconds. The international media called him Eric the Eel. The man who started with nothing and took himself to the most renowned places, Musambani is now the head coach of the Equatorial Guinea swimming squad these days. Chat him up, Emil Zatopek. Zatopek was known as the Chatterbox amongst his peers. Being a long-distance runner in 10,000 meter allowed him to chat with his competitors on the track. So when he decided to run the marathon at the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, the irritated officials refused to tell him the rules. So Zatopek did what he knew best. He decided to run and do it the way he always does it. Soon enough, he caught up to the fastest runner, Jim Peters. While running, Zatopek introduced himself and asked Peters if he was running fast enough, and Peters told him that he wasn't. Perhaps it was this comment that Zatopek took to heart and picked up his pace, going on to win the first ever marathon he ran and smashed the world record. Zatopek was so caught up with chatting and running and chatting that he even passed all opportunities for water, refreshment, and food. What a crazy man. But who cares? He won gold at the Olympics, man. No pain, no gain. Derek Redmond. Redmond wasn't unfamiliar with pain. He had been forced to miss the 1986 Commonwealth Games and had been forced to withdraw from the 1988 Seoul Olympics due to health concerns. But what happened in 1992 showed the world that Redmond wasn't the guy who'd let his pain control him. Just before the race, as Redmond bent down, he heard a pop. It was his hamstring. He immediately fell back on the ground. The paramedics ran towards him, but to the surprise of the whole world, Redmond got back up despite the unbearable pain. Heavily limping, he tried to finish the race and eventually did so with his father by his side, who ran to his aid. The courage and determination Redmond showed were out of this world. Today, he travels across the world as a motivational speaker, telling whoever needs to hear the words, "Don't give up." Fastest man alive, Usain Bolt. There's no way you don't already know about Lightning Bolt, but to talk about life-changing Olympic moments without mentioning the living legend himself is not gonna cut it. Bolt took the world and the internet by storm. Not only did he win 3 gold medals, but he also set 3 world records in the 2008 Beijing Summer Olympics. Entering the games with just 2 sponsors, Bolt left Beijing with his name among the most famous athletes in the world. Becoming a household name, Bolt placed among the highest paid athletes in the world, earning more than any athlete in the history of track and field. Bolt went on to consecutively winning Olympic gold in 100-meter and 200-meter categories in 2012 and 2016, placing him among sports legends as Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. To say that Bolt's Olympic achievements are life-changing would be an understatement. The Javelin Man, Arshad Nadeem. This 24-year-old from a small village in Pakistan surprised everyone in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Despite missing bronze by a meager 0.82 meters, this determined new face won the hearts of millions in his country by being the first ever Pakistani to reach the final of an Olympic track and field game. Being raised in poverty as one of 9 children of a daily wage laborer, Arshad received minimal support for his Olympic dream despite showing great promise as an athlete. However, his fortunes changed after his Olympic performance. Becoming the flag bearer of hope for Pakistan's Olympic aspirations, Arshad won the hearts of millions who flocked to the airport to receive him after the games. Receiving praise and cash prizes from the government as well as private companies, Arshad hopes to use this funding and fame to win Pakistan their first Olympic gold. Given what he achieved with minimal support, this increase in funding is truly life-changing for him. Breaking barriers. Durartu Tulu. Next up, we have the first ever black African woman to have won Olympic gold. Growing up tending to cattle on her family farm in the highlands of Ethiopia, Tulu had no idea she was on her way to becoming one of the most iconic women athletes. After winning gold in the 10,000-meter race of the 1992 Summer Olympics, Tulu became an inspiration for many young African athletes. Following this, she became a national icon, and winning gold once more in the 2000 Sydney Olympics further solidified her position. Even now, Tulu continues to contribute to athletes in her country as the president of the Ethiopian Athletics Federation since 2018. She's still remembered for her speed and her 60.3-second lap even after her retirement. People say some legends are made. Tulu, on the other hand, was born a legend. A statement against racism, Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Sometimes speaking up against injustice is more important than personal achievement. This is exactly what the U.S. 200-meter race competitors Tommy Smith and John Carlos embodied in their iconic Black Power salute. After winning gold and bronze at the 1968 Mexico Olympics, Smith and Carlos went on to the medal podium, shoeless, and both raised a fist, wearing black gloves as the Star-Spangled Banner played in the background. In what's considered to be one of the most iconic displays of solidarity in sports, Smith and Carlos represented the struggles of African Americans in the U.S. with their symbolic protest. However, the public in the 60s weren't the most receptive to conversations about racial injustices, and the two were ostracized by the U.S. sporting establishment. They were subject to abuse and even received death threats for standing up for what they believed in. As a result, their Olympic career was cut short despite them being outstanding athletes. However, they made the sacrifice for what they believed in, which is worth more than any Olympic medal in our opinion. And that wraps up this video. See you in the next one.